For Drink Friday has been to Tsukuba before, but last time it was at the more well-known 2000 circuit. Taking a hop over the fence, the drivers will this time go up against an even tinier and even more technical little track. The 1000 circuit is often seen as a footnote at this venue, but today it's the main stage as we get ready to watch For Drink Friday, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Joey Tebbin. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And of course, with this track having plenty of fans, let's head to our track guide to teach them a little bit about this lesser-known version. Welcome to Tsukuba Circuit. With it being roughly an hour north of Tokyo, Japan, it has proven a well-loved venue in spite of its small size. In fact, while many know of the 2000 circuit thanks to its appearances in various popular video games, most aren't aware of an even smaller 1000 circuit right next to it. This tiny training course includes 4 different layouts to choose from, ranging between 1 kilometer and 8/10 of a kilometer. They go from a mere 4 turns on the oval version up to 11 on the longest. This makes it perfect for amateur drivers and lower-powered cars trying to brush up their skills. However, as you can imagine, it makes it very hard to pass while racing. The most likely place to see overtakes is into Turn 1 after the pit straight. Long, sweeping double apexers bookend the 2 sides of the course that will definitely wear out your tires if you push too hard. While the infield includes multiple slow hairpins, as well as some annoyingly crooked braking zones. It all makes for a fun jaunt when hot lapping, but track position will be key in the race itself. With it giving a chance to drivers of all speeds a chance at enjoying the fun of racing, it's not hard to see why Tsukuba is loved by so many. Joey, I have to admit, this is, I wouldn't say a guilty pleasure for me, but I'm a big fan of running cars around here. It's much more fun than I feel like people would anticipate.
Well, it's basically a glorified go-kart track, and there isn't really anything more fun than go-karts. It's only about 12 or so turns, it's extremely short, it's very narrow, so it's difficult to make overtakes in big cars, but today we're just racing in these little Legends cars. You can see one going by on your screen there. You can fit about 4 of them on this track. Only 0.62 of a mile, it's shorter than most ovals, but they pack 10 turns into this short little track, and I think it's going to be full of action, especially with these little Legends cars.
Certainly. And before we get to the cars on the track, let's talk about our sponsors, including Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. And Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. As we take a look at the race details for today's event, this is a unique series that we run here for Drink Fridays, as it's different each time, different car, different track, you name it. We've got the Legends at Tsukuba and the 1000 version as we just went over. It's a 40-minute race, but here's the kicker. They have to drink 4 12-ounce adult beverages before the race is over. And now, there's a few more specifics we'll go over in a little bit, so there's definitely some rules to that, but it's a fixed setup series, so the drivers don't have to fiddle with that here today to try and compete in these twitchy little Legends cars. But, of course, as they continue to warm up here, or actually they're in the midst of qualifying. It looks like Corey Lotfula is our provisional pole sitter, which could wind up being quite important as we'll go to our pit reporter here today. Joining us instead of racing out on the track is Michael Johnson. Michael, this is a place where it's known for being difficult to pass. So, I mean, what are you anticipating being the places that they can try and get that done?
I think the biggest passing zone is probably going to be in the braking for turn 1. It's the only spot you really have time to set someone up. Every other corner comes so quickly, and you've got defense after defense after defense. And even mildly intoxicated, I think these guys are good enough drivers where they can mount a pretty good defense regardless, except for that long drag race down to turn 1.
So we'll keep an eye there, especially just to see if anybody manages to get it done. But it's easy to make mistakes as well. And Corey Lotvilla parking it briefly as Ost continues to try to chase his lap time. He's popped it into the pits temporarily. And BJ Fulton down here in 4th has about 0.8 of a second to make up. You can see the car waggling around. Now, we talked about some of the details that are involved in those 4 drinks. Now, you might see a DD next to some of these names. That is for designated driver. And that is for those who either wish not to have an adult beverage or can't have an adult beverage. They try to make sure this is a nice, inclusive series. For those drivers, they have to come in and take pit stops. We'll definitely need Michael's help throughout this race to keep track of those, as drivers will be ducking in and out quite a bit. And, well, you might be wondering, what if they want to take a shot during this race? They are allowed to do that, but they have to take a drink of the equal amount of water. So it has to be 12 ounces of water on top of that, so that they get the full liquid that they have to try and chug, because that is, of course, the time sink, even though they'll definitely get just as much of a buzz, I'm sure, from those alcoholic drinks, those shots throughout the race. Now, Joey, this is going to be very interesting with these Legends cars, because, well, they're made for ovals, but I have to say they're a ton of fun on the roadside.
Well, in the track guide a couple minutes ago, we saw the Formula V going around here, and I'd argue that that thing's basically just a glorified go-kart, and this Legends car is essentially just a go-kart with a roof, as John Momeyer takes a trip off into the gravel. No harm, no foul. He's still got 5 minutes left in qualifying, but this is... It's a difficult combination. It's a difficult car to figure out on a road course, but when you figure it out, it is very, very rewarding, and it is just like go-kart racing, and it's as close as you can get on iRacing.
We're getting some interesting information here. Michael, you're saying we've got a designated driver who's got some interesting rules today. What's this going on with Corey?
So the scuttlebutt is Corey is going to actually drink either... It could be a Dr. Pepper, it could be Mountain Dew. They haven't decided which one yet. But he has to drink 4 of those, just like the other guys have to drink 4 adult beverages. But because his is not an adult beverage, he has to take an extra stop and go. So he'll have 5 stops total, and that has to be your typical pit, roll into the pit, do a stop and go, not take any service or anything.
Interesting. Okay, so that'll be fascinating to watch. That's the first time we've seen that in this series, and should be a fun one to see him get to have to try and pull off to the side. It's another thing we didn't mention. Drivers are not allowed to, quote, drink and drive. They actually have to stop the car off the racing line, take their drink, and then they can continue. And as we're mentioning that, we do want to, of course, encourage people to not drink and drive in real life. This is all just for fun. This is all virtual. So please be safe if you do drink. As we watch Corey continue on, still holding the over Ost today. Joey, I know you're a bit new to this series. I think you're in for quite a bit of fun. This is very zany and lighthearted racing that we tend to see. And honestly, there's no better place to see this combo, I feel like.
Well, not to reveal any bias, but I'm kind of rooting for Corey here. I'm a Dr. Pepper fan. I'm liking that decision. I think he's going to have an advantage here.
So you're saying you're a pepper?
I am a pepper indeed. I'm a pepperer, Dr. Pepperite.
I had to pull that one out. You opened it up, and I had to take it. Still, Michael Ost not able to try and get that extra time done, but he certainly is trying. And as for the tires on this track, a bit of a unique one. Michael, you seem the most informed on this topic. There's those long right-handers that they have at the beginning and end of the lap. Is that going to wear down the left-hand sides more than the rights?
The wear on these tires seems to be fairly balanced because you've got some hard braking and hard acceleration, which on these cars for this track just seem to be doing a little more than the sweepers do. There's not a lot of weight in the car, but there's a lot of power. This is a little Hayabusa motor in this thing that weighs next to nothing, and you're putting it through these tiny little slicks, and it really tends to wear pretty evenly throughout the entire race. My question's going to be, who's going to stop and take tires? I think it's going to be an interesting strategy play to see how this rolls through the 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good question, since could go different between the drivers on that. We were watching for a brief moment, new name here in For Drink Friday, Nick Balsbaugh, as he sits in fourth, and he's only got to make up less than a tenth to try and get past. You can see him having a little bit of trouble getting the power down out of some of these tricky hairpins. Oast still looking for that flyer, trying to find some clear track. That's also one of these difficulties here, Joey, is even though we've only got what looks like about 8 cars that are looking to compete today, boy, traffic is a nightmare.
Traffic is a nightmare, and you can pass with the bumper. Just another comparison to go-karts. It reminds me of indoor go-kart racing leagues, getting the fenders out, beating and banging, trying your hardest not to break people's spines, and that seems like it's going to be a good way to pass here. Just move someone out of the groove, sneak by, and no harm, no foul. Nobody's going to get any damage. And here's Nick Balsbaugh coming through the chicane in that USPS livery. He's going pretty fast. Can we say he's hauling the mail?
I'd say so. This time by, though, is only a 42.6, so he wasn't hauling the mail that time, unfortunately. Still has those 4 100ths to try and get past BJ Fulton, as Corey Lotwell is getting some practice in side-by-side racing, even banging some fenders, and he's going to move on past Michael Oast. That lap definitely won't count for either of them, and we are just about done with this qualifying. They'll get one final flyer here, so they will be able to complete it. We'll see if anybody switches positions.
BJ Fulton's trying his best. Nick Balsbaugh brings the mail truck back into the pits. BJ in an old wood-paneled looking car. He's got a hungry train of drivers behind him. Up ahead, so that's the Constitution car. We saw, oh my goodness.
Now they're just having some fun. Yeah, so
yeah, time is up.
Yeah, like I said, this is a very low stakes series, so that's why we're seeing some drivers messing around like that. Momeyer, does improve over Roban. He is going to move up to 5th spot. Michael, in the meantime, does not go any quicker. So it looks like that is going to be it for our qualifying. And just letting the last of the clock tick down, then we'll have our starting grid here for the month of June for the 4 Drink Friday. This has been a fun one each and every time we get out for this final Friday of the month. And it looks like Corey Lotwell will start it here today on the pole. Michael Oast will flank him in 2nd place. And you've got BJ Fulton starting in 3rd, as Nick Balsbaugh will start in 4th. Joey, what's the latter half of the field?
The only other 2 drivers to set qualifying times were John Momeyer, one of the designated drivers, in 5th, and Michael Roban in 6th. AJ Lattery and Mark Rondeau did not set times in qualifying, but they'll be starting from the back row. They got a little bit of ground to make up, but shouldn't be too difficult if they got speed.
And we got a standing start on top of things. Who will decide to immediately pull off and take a drink, and who will try and plunge forward just to get those precious few positions in the melee that is these standing starts at such a tiny track? So as we wait for the last of them to plop themselves on the grid, 40 minutes of racing, 4 drinks to try and down in the time of this race. Who will be able to come out the other side of it? Just waiting on Fulton and Rondeau. Lotwell, our pole sitter, already out there. As we wait for the lights to come up pretty soon. It is a nice day out here in the middle of Japan at only 73 degrees Fahrenheit for the air temperature, 76 for the track temperature, so should be pretty good for those trying to find the grip on the circuit. Looks like Fulton has joined, so Only Rondeau left to go, and I'm only seeing, it looks like 7 of them. Looks like the time is up, so he's not going to take to the grid, so the green flag is out and off the line. Not good for Latvala, but Ost is already pinching him down as he looks to take the lead down into the first corner, around the outside. He almost have it, but he goes wide. Latvala gets it back, and behind them, it does appear that Balsbaugh maybe has taken his drink.
Down the inside, there's the bumper. It's already coming out. The 5 car absolutely sends it down the inside of the hairpin. Knocks Corey Latvala back a couple positions. He's down to 3rd place. But the top 4 right now, you put a blanket over him, and it looks like quite a few cars ended up in the grass. I'm not sure they intentionally did that to park up. But these 3 up front, they are... Oh, there goes the 5. That's already a spin from Michael Ost.
Report that Robin pulled off to the side at, I think, the 2nd or 3rd corner, took a drink, so looks like he's got 1 down. So did Nick, as the drivers continue on. BJ Fulton, currently our leader. Latvala has been overtaken by the number 2. Down into the 2nd hairpin. He is following closely. Look at from the gearbox cam how close he is.
You can get very, very close. Corey Latvala. It's... Oh! Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. He just gets the bumper out. He's trying to shove BJ Fulton out of the way, trying to crack the wood on that rear bumper in the Constitution car. But down to turn 1, he's not quite going to be close enough. He's going to try and set it up, give him a little bit of a tap on exit. And will he send it down the inside? No, he won't. He lost all his momentum there. He's going to have to round that thing back up and try again. There he goes again.
It was an amazing catch the first time. Second time, not so much. It looks like he might be taking a drink as well, as Momeyer now moves into 2nd. Ost climbs his way up into 3rd, and Balsbaugh goes by for 4th. So Latvala taking his time to down his beverage. You can see the 4 of Momeyer having started this race in 3rd, up 1 position now.
It's got a 2.8 second gap up to BJ Fulton, but we've seen in the first couple minutes of this race that these gaps are basically meaningless. They can come down in milliseconds. BJ just spun from the lead, like I just said. Commentator's curse. Gaps are meaningless. Momeyer up to the lead now.
It was a carbon copy of Latvala too, but he's going to do the same thing. Decide to stop, take a drink, and he is much quicker. So BJ Fulton is once again running as we take a look at the replay, and that thing just comes around in a split second. Michael, I'm kind of curious, if you heat up the tires like that, do they ever come back to you, or are they gone as soon as you spin them up that way?
The tires don't really go away from this. We were goofing around earlier this week, and I was literally doing donuts on the start-finish line and then waiting for everybody to come around because I had spun, and then jumped right back in it, followed him, and had no problem keeping up.
Well, that'd be good news for the drivers who have already turned it around in the wrong place, as we watch Momeyer, now our leader, since he's taken that over from Fulton. But he's being chased by Ost, who takes a little bit of a look out of the final corner, but slows himself up with that attempt.
Ost seems like he has this place figured out more than basically everybody else. He's got the line down. He's just locked in there, and he's right behind Momeyer. Is he going to go for the send that he tried on lap 1? He doesn't have to. Momeyer locks up, opens the door, but he's still side by side. He's not going to let Ost get away with this easily. Ost definitely has the pace advantage here, but will he be able to clear Momeyer when he has that bumper to use?
Ooh, very deep on the brakes there for the 5. And is he finally past the 4? It looks like he is. Great job there from Michael Ost to take the lead away and up to the front. Now, Michael, you've got some reporting from the virtual pit. It sounds like one of the drivers has a unique setup.
Yeah, so BJ has decided to pour his beer into glasses early for a couple of reasons. 1, it warms up. 2, it loses some of the fizz. So that way, when he goes to drink it, it's able to just slide right back down the back of his throat without any pause whatsoever. He can, it's like high school or college. We shouldn't be doing that in high school, I suppose. Or even in college until your senior year. I went to school in Germany, we were able to drink and all the time. So yeah, it was
Fair point.
yeah, different countries, different rules. But yeah, he lets his warm up, so they lose some of the bubbles, and they drop right in.
Ost's now taking another drink. Is this number 2, I want to say, for Michael?
I think so. Unfortunately, ATVO hasn't programmed a total drinks feature, so we can't reliably see how many drinks they've taken, but we should have a pretty accurate amount. Michael Ost taking his second, going to the back of the field. I don't know if he's drinking any German flat, warm beers back there, but maybe he is. Here's Ballsbaugh getting out of shape, and the wooden car back to the front. BJ Fulton, he's gone from first to last to first, and suddenly he's right back up there.
We've had our first visitor down to Michael on the lane. Michael, what's been going on with Momeyer?
Momeyer just pulled his first stop and go. He's one of our DDs, our designated drivers. So he went in and went to a screeching halt and then came flying back out. So he has his first stop of, I believe it's 5 today.
It's such a short pit lane, so no wonder they have to have so many that they have to do to try and equalize that penalty. He actually returned in second place, so didn't lose him too much. That'll promote BJ Fulton up to our top spot. Still not even 10 minutes into this race. Oh, here comes another one down to you, Michael.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to do a second stop here. Is he stopping?
He did. He already did, yeah.
Yep, there he goes. Yeah, that was his second stop. So I'm going to guess he's going to get all of these out of the way. He'll probably come in on this lap too, and then get the next few in, and then he's good to go to the end of the race.
Bit of an interesting line there. I think he's taking the shortest possible route. Can't blame him. A little bit of rally cross on the inside apex, cutting the grass a little bit. I saw BJ Fulton trying his best to take a little bit of a shorter route. I assume they gave him a slowdown for that, but I don't know. I haven't tested out the alternate routes here. Sometimes iRacing forgets to program a slowdown for some of these shortcuts, so maybe BJ has found a secret, or maybe he's just taking the slow. Oh, there he goes. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, well, no,
but
he's taking
off.
a drink. Yeah, okay. So Fulton with another one down the hatch. I was going to say, I do see mysteriously some black flag cleared notification showing up in iRacing. So I wonder if some people have been a little sneaky behind the scenes. Fulton back rolling, and he falls to second as Corey Latvala now takes the lead over. What's incredible in all this is all drivers are still on the lead lap.
It is a short lap, but I guess everyone's on pace. Everyone's evened out with their pit stops or their drinks or their Dr. Peppers. Corey Latvala has come out on top at the moment, and he was first in qualifying, so we know he has this place figured out. But is he going to park up here? I think he is, and down the hatch goes a... How many flavors does Dr. Pepper have? 13, 47? Is that KFC? I don't know.
That's 3. If you're from Texas, you'd know.
Technically, I'm more of a Mr. Pibb guy, but I don't get to have that often, so
But you've upset our producer. He's... He does not approve, apparently. I approve. I like Mr. Pibb as well. But anyways, I digress. As BJ Fulton now only half a second ahead of Michael Ost. Oh, and pulling off. Oh, wow. He's really going to have to clear a black flag here as BJ Fulton has pulled off on the essentially oval course. That cuts off a good chunk. I'm not sure if the sim is going to like that.
I don't know if he parked up for long enough. It might just forgive him for doing that. But Michael Ost has taken the lead by approximately, I think 2 seconds because of that. But he's going to have to stop again shortly. I don't think he's come even close to drinking all 4 of his.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to let him clear that black flag for that the stop on the oval there. The only one they were talking about clearing was the cut through, because that is a pretty massive cut. If you look how much is actually missing from your lap if you do that straight run through at the oval.
Just got a message. BJ Fulton had a black flag cleared, so not sure who cleared it, but it seems that he's getting away with it for now. as the two
It's good
retakes
to
the
be
lead.
admin.
Yeah, that'll be one thing. Whoop, that's not part of the course right there, and he's not stopping. So a legitimate mistake there from the two sends him way down the order, and Momeyer retakes the lead. Lotville second, Robin in third.
And interestingly enough, it's the two designated drivers up front right now. We didn't hear what John Momeyer is replacing his alcoholic beverages with. Michael, do you know if he has any Dr. Pepper style replacement, or is he just, I guess, hanging out drink free?
Yeah, from my understanding, Momeyer is going to go with the traditional designated driver version of this race, which is just the stops, no drinks. I mean, you can have some water or whatever if you want, but there's no designated number of drinking stops that he has to make. He can stop and go at will.
Lotville, who's been pretty quick lately over in the sister series in the Porsches, is starting to close in. A big lockup from Momeyer is going to open the door, but it seems Lotville can't walk through. Maybe we'll use the chrome horn. No, doesn't need to. Switchback underneath him. Little banging fenders side to side, and that's going to scupper his exit. Tries to once again go around, and that's the second time we've seen someone outbrake Momeyer into that corner. He's going to take the opportunity to come into the pits.
Lotville just has a lot of speed. If we can look closely at that car, I believe that's a Constitution car. So something tells me that his favorite amendment of the Constitution is the 21st.
I see what you did there, as he continues to lead now by about 7.5 seconds over Momeyer, who is still out there and rolling, having taken another of his pit stops that he needs as a designated driver. And we do have one car a lap down. BJ Fulton, interestingly. Not sure how he went a lap down. Did he lose that much time going off track?
Potentially. He might have just taken a long time to drink. Maybe.
I believe BJ was finishing all his drinks when he was sitting there in that oval extension section.
Ah, okay. Thanks for that update there. That's why we keep Michael around for this one, keeping us up to speed. A little bit of a lockup there for the two. So now it's a game of catch-up. No, he's not done with his drinks. He does it again.
I haven't been able to keep track of how many he's done so far. He had beer 1, complete beer 2, complete beer 3. So I think this is his fourth one right now. I think he'll be done after this, and he'll be good to the rest of the race.
So still a lap down, and actually a full 18 seconds, it appears, behind the next car up. So he's got to keep it together. He's got to hope. Oh, and that's not keeping it together there as he nearly loses it out of the final turn. But he's rolling once again, trying to keep Ost from lapping him. Ost second on the track currently. He gets to the inside, fighting hard with that number 5 car. Going to take it all the way to the first hairpin of the track and go for the over-under.
Momeyer's just made another stop. I didn't keep track of him, but I think this is his fourth, if I'm guessing correctly.
I'll have to double check the lap times there on iRacing, see what the stats say on those laps. Riding on board, looking behind Michael Ost, as there was a little bit of contact between himself and Fulton.
Remember, Fulton, he's not in third place in this battle. He's trying to unlap, and he definitely has the speed to do so. He's just got to be careful. Cut the grass, maybe. I don't know if that's actually faster. He might think it is, but it didn't look like that really worked out. But he definitely has the pace on Ost and Latvala, and he can get his lap back on pace here without them having to stop. He just has to exercise maybe a little bit of patience, wait for the opportunities to arise. I think Ost is going to get very aggressive here. He might have a couple words with the back bumper of Latvala. They might slow each other down, and we'll see Fulton maybe just try and squeak through as they battle.
Ballsbaugh with another spin, and I think he's taking a drink as he's pulled off to the side between the hairpins. Continue to watch from Ost, so he's going to go by him in just a second. Really does. I mean, calling it a go-kart track, it feels accurate. When we ride on board, it has that same sensation.
Yeah, it's just basically constant turning. There are straights. I say straights in quotation marks because they're about 1,000 feet long. But that's basically your only break around here. Other than that, you're constantly turning, you're constantly braking, you're constantly jostling the car around. I think if you were actually in one of these cars at this track, your rib cage would probably be very, very bruised from flinging yourself around left and right. But luckily, these guys are all in their comfy sims, and they shouldn't be too bad off after this. Maybe some wrist pain, but that's about it.
Especially going up and down through the gears, too. Well, we're on board with Ost, and it looks like he's got it within half a second of Latvala for the lead. To come off the final corner, much tighter the apex there, the number 5. Latvala still with a great run off the corner. Look at him pull away.
I don't know, maybe the designated driver choice is paying off for him. The Dr. Pepper, maybe all that sugar, that caffeine fueling him to victory. And I should say, I guess he should be the 18th Amendment, not the 21st Amendment, because he's not partaking in the alcoholic beverages this evening.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if you talked about the bruised ribs. I'd be more thinking about drivers getting sick, constantly going back and forth, especially if they're in VR here tonight. As Corey, once again, keeping himself safe from the arms of Michael Ost, but this time the 5 a little closer into the first corner. Can he get even closer next time and finally attack? A little bit of a slide off of the double apexer, and he's going to absolutely chuck it in, sending both of them around.
But can he right it in time? I think Latvala is going to park it and take advantage of that situation, but Ost just sending it in there. Shades of Alexander Rossi, Robert Wickens at St. Pete in 2018, but everybody keeps it rolling. Michael Ost takes the lead with a little bit of a punt, but I think Latvala might repay the favor a little bit later. I don't think it'll be too mad, but he'll have some revenge to take care of.
So Raban moves up into third with that. Actually, I think he was in third. It looks like, yeah, Ost and Latvala were able to continue first and second. Corey with another Dr. Pepper in the gullet.
Roban's got an interesting thing going on here. He was asking me for some advice early on about how to do this. And I said, get in your car, be absolutely just dead on perfect all the way to the end. Just run laps, run one lap after another. Don't worry about going fast. Just get a good lap in and repeat that lap. And then right at the end, chug your drinks. And it looks like he's going to try to do that.
Indeed. Now, how many do we have down for Ost and Latvala? Because he'll need them to take a few more, however, because he is still behind them. With him having taken no drinks so far, he doesn't want to be behind anybody right now. He's going to have to give a lot of time back at the end. Right now, this is with Latvala in front of him. This is for position.
And I thought Latvala had a little bit more pace in the tank, but Roban he's improved from his practice time. He was 6th, last on the grid of the cars that started here, but he's found something in the race here. But Michael, I want to ask you, your preferred strategy was, I guess, backloading, drinking all your drinks at the end, but how does it compare? What about front loading versus backloading?
Well, I think it depends on how you, and this is the global you, process your alcohol. I can't do that. If I take them all at the beginning, I'm just going to sit there and do donuts about 6 laps in because I'm going to be giggling. But for Roban, we talked about this. How does it work for him? And he was saying he's kind of similar to me, where if he takes them all too quick, he's just going to have a big ball of beer in his belly, and he doesn't want, oh, that's some good alliteration there, I like that, a ball of beer in his belly. And he doesn't want to be racing the whole time with that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Don't look too close on Roban's bumper there, his fender, because there's a Patron logo there. So I don't want to harm your eyes, Michael, as we watch from on board. Corey Latvala now looking back at the driver. I love seeing what the hands can do in these machines since they're so twitchy. There's usually quite a bit of movement in the corners.
And with how little power these things have compared to basically any other car you might want to drive around this track, they still get very, very loose on exit, and I guess they're just stomping on the throttle as much as they can, and that's kind of what you have to do in a light, low-powered car like this. You got to keep the momentum going.
The tires on these things are so sticky that you can just put your foot through the firewall with that gas pedal, and it'll hook up and go. It's almost difficult to get a spin out of those rear wheels.
You'll have to teach me then, because my goodness, I always find them wanting to swap ends on me. As this is for position down into the first corner, and going off the 2 finds himself unceremoniously shoved into the paved runoff as Robon will rebuff Fulton.
Yeah, that wasn't a move I taught him, but I liked it. It was pretty good.
And hear the fans shouting, defense, defense. Or it's Japan. What's defense in Japanese? Defensu.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, we'll have to ask our fans, see if there's any weebs in the house that know what the wording is for that. Is coming off the final corner. A little bit of lockup there coming through that double apexer, and Fulton's going to drop back once again and regroup to try it. We're already to halfway, so the laps are coming down, and we're getting close to the finish. How many have we had with Momeyer? I'd have to double check his timing here on iRacing, see how many times he's gone through. Oh, we got a car backwards. That's Robon. Oh, yeah, and Ost is going to join him.
I think he was trying to park it on the apex to take a drink, but he's got it rolling again. Ost, he was doing donuts in the grass a little bit. I think he was trying to get that thing back righted, but he's back on track now. He still holds on to the lead despite that little excursion, and now he's going to chase down the number 6 car to try and put Michael Robon a lap down for the first time in this race.
Getting some Japanese from our producer, and apologies to all the Japanese speakers. I'm probably going to botch this. Boe, I think, is how it's supposed to be. Don't quote me on it. I have friends who are learning. I'm sure they'll correct me if they go and listen to this. So down to the final 18 minutes now, and they're starting to spread apart, though I'm seeing, do we have, are we down to 3 on the lead lap? I'm trying to, yeah, 4 on the lead lap. In fact, oh, well, there's the answer to one of your questions, Michael. BJ is taking tires.
Yeah, BJ was telling me in the practice that he was going to see how far he could take it. And when those lap times got to just the point where this very, very short pit lane and the time to take tires was beneficial to him, he was going to just lick that stamp and send it, which would probably go better with Nick's car, but we'll apply it here.
Well, looks like he's nailed it as the Woody gets going, and he'll return in 5th position, one of 2 down a lap from our leader. Ost is getting close to lapping Robon as well.
Ballsbaugh had a little bit of an interesting strategy. He just ran the oval on the last lap. I think he's trying to get his laps back. The admins seem happy to clear his black flags. They want to get everybody back in the race. We're here for entertainment purposes, so let's see him go around turn 1, around turn 2, and you can hear him thinking, do I do it? Are they even going to clear my black flags if I try this? Heck, let's go for it.
It feels a little
There he
like
goes.
whose line is it anyway, where the points don't matter and the rules are made up anyway.
I was going to say this is their version of the fun flags, I suppose, for those who have been watching SRX. This is the black flag is cleared. There's your fun flag. On his way he goes.
It's like stadium super trucks. It's all for entertainment. We should get some jumps for these things. I think that would be pretty fun.
The day that iRacing allows us to custom place jumps will be a wild one indeed. So Momeyer still in the 3rd spot, has about 12 seconds to make up to Corey Lotvilla in front of him. How many does Ost have left with him being the leader? I do see a few for him. Unfortunately, he's marked a few before the race, so I'm trying to cut those out. And he's going very slowly. Ost is going at a slow rate out of the final corner. What's going on here?
I think Ost has completed all 4. He may be going for bonus points with extra beer.
Now he
Or-
finally comes to a halt.
I think he might just be trying to spice up the competition here. Let the drivers who are 20, 30, 40 seconds behind him.
Fulton nearly ran into him along the front stretch. Let's take a look at the replay.
We might be doing their version of a competition yellow where everybody just kind of resets up. I got to see if I can find something out here.
All right, well, he runs off to check the radio. Yeah, everybody parking up.
And this
Okay.
is Fulton driving by Oast, and
Let's come back live. We've got everybody on the front stretch.
yeah, Fulton just buzzed the Oast tower there. No big deal. He's getting himself back on the lead lap, and like you said, we're having a competition caution. We're gonna have a fun restart here, and everybody's back in it now.
All right, and it looks like somebody's waved the green flag, but not quite
I'm not
for
sure
everybody.
when it's supposed to go. They put up a message, and then when the message went away, where the last black flag message, how it comes up in iRacing, as soon as it goes away, they were supposed to go. But there were so many black flag cleared messages, they didn't know which one to go on.
Oh, are they doing a rolling start? Or is this...
Oh, Demolition Derby.
Some thought to go the long way, some did not. And that's going to give the lead to, well, BJ Fulton still, because he cut the course.
I don't know if they're going to try and reset here. I thought they were going to go for a rolling start. Maybe a little bit of a mixture of both. We did one standing, one rolling. But everybody's getting their black flags cleared now. I think they're going to try again.
Michael, this really is whose line is it anyways? Nobody knows which line is the proper one now. And oh, there they go. Now they're
We're back in the
going.
wall.
22 getting a rude shove. Corey Lotfula gets it moving, and Momar as well.
Fulton was like 2 laps down a couple minutes ago, so he's truly been brought back into this race. But now Michael Oast has to try his best to chase him down. Mo Myers up there, and no, Mo Myers at the back right now. That's Ballsbaugh in the mail truck up in third. And Latfula, who got turned into the outside wall in the restart, he's got a lot of ground to make up to. 7 seconds back now, but there's still 13 minutes in this race. And I'd say truly anything can happen. And just like that, BJ Fulton's lead is gone.
Formula D in the number 2. And he's going to go wide, unfortunately, coming through the first corner. That'll open the door for the 5, coming down to the inside, braking deep. Can he get it woed up in time? No, he can't. The 2 goes underneath him. Oh, and he's going to bang into the side of Ballsbaugh.
Not the best recovery we've ever seen. Ballsbaugh comes off the worst in that, and I think that's some
Did Momar just cut the
retribution
course?
there.
Momeyer just cut the course. So Momeyer's now your leader. Fulton's trying to chase him down. Here's the replay. He saw all that craziness happening in front of him, decided he wanted no part of it.
You know, he didn't break any rules. If we read the rule book, it says you can go there to avoid an accident, and he thought there was a big enough accident. He was just going to try and avoid it, and, you know, no harm, no foul.
I think that rule was written in crayon, though, so I'm not sure it's actually legal.
All my legal tender is written in crayon. Thank you very much.
Fulton trying to run him down. Oh, somebody else taking a little bit of a shortcut. Michael Oast now going to run up behind BJ Fulton. Coming
It looks like there
through
may
the
have been
infield.
some Joker lap discussion. I didn't quite get the buzz on that, but this cutover that they're doing around turn 2, 3, that cutover where they were drinking earlier, looks like they're trying to use it as a Joker lap kind of thing now.
Ah, well, it's certainly making some more fun with 11 minutes to go now. Momeyer still your leader by about 4 seconds. Last lap through for Fulton, a 39.9 compared to Momeyer at a 41.7. So he is reeling him in. And there goes Corey Lotfula, just taking a few chunks out of the track.
Just a couple. I think he cut through both of the chicanes there, basically straight lined it. Up to second now. He is not back at full speed. He's parking up on the line. I think he's just serving a slowdown.
Track seems to be a bit of a suggestion at this stage in the race. So,
Well, when
the
you've
gap-
had enough Dr. Pepper, it kind of works that way.
he's got a sugar buzz at this point, as Momeyer now only has 2.7 seconds to Fulton. He has cut it down Does Momeyer take another little bit of a creative line through the circuit here soon? Under braking, this seems to be his weak point heading into the final corner, and he's going to go wide. The two's going to get to his inside and take the lead.
And Latvala's right back there. Could we see 3 wide into turn 1? Fulton's a little bit slow down the straight. But no. He goes wide, though. Latvala's going to have the inside. No, he's not. Momeyer's going to have the inside. They're jostling, switching places with every corner. Latvala on the outside, now the inside. This is a heck of a battle we're seeing here. Latvala, I think, has a little bit more pace than Fulton right now, but he's going to have to get the bumper out. Oh, there's Michael Ost getting very, very close. But Corey Latvala, powered by the 11 herbs and spices or whatever, does the switchback. He's going to be side-by-side coming to the line. Doesn't have the lead yet, but he's got the inside. That's going to be the advantage. The better line.
Watch for the use of the outer section of the track there, outside of turn 1. It's given kind of a slingshot effect at times.
Yeah, it is. It's like a reverse oval. It's a right-turning oval. And yeah, I think the outside is actually the place to go. Normally in a road car, we'd think that the inside would have the advantage in a corner like that. But we're seeing that the outside, it is really working like an oval.
So your leader currently is BJ Fulton. Latvala second there in line that you see. Ost behind them. And then it's Momeyer, who took another shortcut through the grass before the first hairpin. For the first time in a while, they're going to go single file as they all drift to the outside, a little too far outside. The track dips away once you go past that white line, and Latvala learned it the hard way.
Gets very, very bumpy out there, but now Michael Ost, or Michael Oates, if we want to use a beer word for him, he's got to defend from Latvala here. He's got the bumper out, but Latvala hasn't shown the ability to pass so far in these last couple laps. He hasn't quite been getting the bumper out as much as you might need. He's being a little bit clean. It gets a big slide on exit, and he goes around.
Up to third for Momeyer now, watching his friend spin around. And in fact, Ballsbaugh is also going to be able to surpass him. So that's up to fourth for the number 1 machine. Fulton still your leader overall, but he also spins. The 2 is around.
Now Michael Ost, third to first in 2 corners. Just shows how things can change, but I don't think he is going to have the lead here. Fulton tried to retake it, but it didn't quite work. I think he's trying to straight line the track.
That I don't think there's any straight lines that are happening with that car right now.
He looks like he may have some damage, but the damage is supposed to be turned off for this.
I think he just struggled to get the power down on that grass. So Ost now up at the front by about 2.5 seconds over Momeyer. Ballsbaugh following them in third. Fulton ahead of Latvala, who had a bit of a problem on the front stretch. What just happened there?
Yeah, this was really interesting watching them come down through here. They start locking bumpers right about here, and around he goes.
Deja vu for Latvala. He got turned there on the first restart. He's thinking, what do I have to do to stay up front here? He's got 14 seconds to make up until the end of the race. He's got to hope he doesn't get turned into the outside wall in the front straight any more times.
The 5 trying to be smooth as that car leans around the long first right-hander, then braking hard into the hairpin. Momeyer not able to make up the time. In fact, making mistakes, locking it up and losing time on that blue and black number 5.
Now, Joe, correct me if I'm counting 5 drinks now for Michael Ost. Is that what you get?
I've never been good doing math on the air. Where is his 1, 2? Let's see, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, 6, maybe even potentially.
6. So he really is an overachiever.
Well, let's think here. He has chugging alcohol in the iRacing chat programmed to a hotkey. So let's think about where that hotkey could be. Maybe he pressed another accidental key. Maybe he was trying to press F2 and he accidentally pressed 2. Or maybe he did have 5 beers. Maybe he did.
Well, I've raced with him in other leagues, and he does tend to be a bit of an overachiever there too. He's a great competitor. So maybe he's trying to level the playing field because he's doing so well with that 2-second lead or so.
3.5 now between himself and Momeyer. Here you see the second place driver who's been struggling under braking today. Fulton just had another spin, by the way, in the number 2. That'll slip him down into 5th. 5 minutes left to go. It's not a lot of time, but it's a lot of laps because they've been doing laps at about the 40-second mark around here.
Yeah, Michael Ost, his stint has been 49 laps so far this race, and we still have 5 minutes to go. So that is a lot of miles, 50 kilometers, I think, like 30 miles, something like that. I don't know what 6/10 of 50 is. I should.
Just over, so 50 kilometers is 30 miles.
You mentioned this being shorter than some ovals. Their laps are shorter than some ovals in time, even taking 50 seconds around some of the super speedways. As Michael Ost now up to 3.9 seconds over Momeyer. Latvala another 8.8 seconds back in 3rd. He's kind of on his own island. He's got about 2 seconds over Ballsbaugh. We'll see if he can chase him, which is the closest battle, actually, on the track currently between the 1 and the 2.
I'm trying to think of what Momeyer can do. I'm thinking he can either cut parts of the track and make his time up that way. He can take the oval. That would be a great way to move his way up front. Or I'm thinking if there's any places on the grass he could straight line it and minimize his penalty, minimize his slowdown. Or maybe if he does get a slowdown, he's just got to get in front of Michael Ost, park it on the bumper, make sure he can't get around, go-kart style, and maybe that's the way he'll win the race.
Had 2 more spins. Latvala and Fulton both went around. Fulton down to last and Latvala into 4th. So it has gone up to 5 seconds with John Momeyer in 2nd place. Really unable to keep up with the number 5 and not seeing nearly as many drivers cut the course now. The race is on to do it legitimately and actually take the win in these final few minutes.
They might be lulling us into a false sense of security, though. I wonder if something's coming, and maybe the last lap, a last lap dash to the oval. I'm holding my hopes out. I think it might happen, but Michael Ost definitely doesn't want that to happen because he has a very large lead. He may have had 5 drinks while he's doing it, and he's pulled out a 7-second lead, and this will be a dominant victory for him if he can hang on for 2.5 more minutes.
I think the drinks may have gotten to BJ Fulton because he went around yet again.
He's BJ full of a ton of beer.
Well played, sir. So, Michael Ost, who we see on screen, up to 7 seconds. And he's coming up to the line now. 2 minutes left to go. I think this is 3 laps left.
Something I've been noticing here is the guys who are trying to do this cutover right there at turn 3 to take the shorter route, they're not getting much pace when they get down into the latter part of the lap. So that cutover doesn't actually seem to be helping them too much.
Ooh, so just too tight to really be effective, I guess. Interesting. As he comes past it, doesn't take that shortcut. Hey, Fulton actually managed to get into 5th. Something must have happened to Robon as he falls down to last on the field. Here you see the number 2. Let's see if he takes the shortcut. No, he's going to go legitimate.
Robon's actually been trying to stay on the actual course, but I believe he's due for some drinks here very shortly.
Oh, that's a good point. And now that he's last on track, this is not good for him. As Michael Ost is going to get the white flag this time by. He's just about done with the lap, breaking into the final right-hander.
Right there at the... Oh, and Robon takes him around.
In a big way, just chucked him into the wall. White flag just waved for Michael Ost. as we take a look at the replay of this incident.
He's just recovering, and then I don't think he hit the wall. I think he just ended up in the grass. But he's coming around the last corner here. He loses it completely on his own, and then bang into the styrofoam wall over there. But no harm, no foul. He's still in 5th. But 7 seconds left on the clock, and I think this race is decided up front.
Indeed.
Clearing the flags helps a lot too.
Ost is coming up to it now as the number 5 crosses the line to take the win at 4 Drink Friday. Latvala is going to be our second place finisher. Overtook Momire while we weren't looking, who is going to finish out the podium. And it looks like Ballsba, Roban. No, is Fulton going to get by? Oh, it might be a race to see who finishes last.
I don't know how Latvala did that. I think he might get a post-race penalty. I don't know if he cut the track to steal that second. Maybe we'll get a post-race replay to try and see if anything happened there. But Fulton's going to come down to the finish in 6th place. Oh,
Yeah,
that's the ramp.
Move. I love that.
Roban tried to cut across the course. He might actually still get penalized by iRacing. He didn't have time to clear his black flag, but that... well, no, we're going to watch the replay before we go. Well, he starts cutting there, fails the re-entry. Both of them trying to figure out what to do from here. As the 6 then decides, well, no, well, he's going to go at first, so he'll try and follow the track, at least around the first or the second hairpin. He sees how far behind he is. He says, to hell with it. Turns right where he should have turned left. And just comes to the line. He did
made
get
his own
scored.
hairpin.
Yeah, he did get scored behind Fulton for what it's worth. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with driver interviews as well as the unofficial results. So don't go away. Welcome back to Tsukuba Circuit. We just watched the June version of 4 Drink Friday, and it was Michael Ost who came home the winner, with Corey Lotvala taking a bit of a creative line at the end to claim second place, so with John Momeyer finishing in third. Nick Balsbaugh got fourth place ahead of BJ Fulton in fifth. The last one to finish was Michael Robon, who unfortunately was unable to overtake with his own creative line there at the end. We are going to talk to our winner while we've got the opportunity. Michael Ost joins us as he has managed to claim the victory this week. Michael, it certainly looked like a lot of fun, a lot different from past 4 Drink Fridays. There seemed to be some creative racing lines and as well as a competition caution.
Well, when you have 56 laps, we only had, 6 drivers by the end of it. I mean, some people had some computer problems and other issues, but, when you have that few cars, I mean, it's a tiny track, but at the same time, we figured we'd get everybody together and make the race exciting at the end. Give you guys a little bit of a show.
It definitely was, and it was pretty amusing to watch. It seemed like a lot of drivers had trouble keeping these things pointed forward. What's it like inside the cockpit here in the Legends on the road on a road course?
Well, to tell you the truth, at the beginning, the car starts off really pushy. And then as you go, the rear tires just start to wear and wear and wear. And it came to the point where, lap 50, I'm actually entering turn 1 backwards. And it was insane. I mean, like it was, a quarter, like at the beginning of the race, you're doing almost full throttle going through one. At the end of the race, you're doing a quarter throttle through one. and it's just a big sweeper. There's just nothing to it too.
We were trying to make out how many times you had entered your marker in the text chat that you had taken your drink. Did you have more than the allotted 4 tonight?
No, I drank before we started, so yes, but no, I only drank 4 during the race.
Okay, so we did count wrong. But regardless, a fantastic run here today. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for this victory?
Yeah, I'd like to thank FDF and Matt Hollander for putting these things on, and the whole crew of people that show up. I mean, if we can get this thing up to like 40 cars of chaos, I think it'll be pretty entertaining, right?
I have to agree. That would be a lot of fun to watch, especially at a small track like this. Well, congratulations.
I was going to say we were allowing cuts and we were clearing black flags to try to group the cars back together, because these cars were a handful. They really are.
Oh, yes. I've driven around here in them. It is quite a wild ride. So that was our winner, Michael Ost, and that takes us to second place. Joey's caught up with Corey Lotvala.
Well, speaking of creative lines, Corey, you managed to make your way up to second in the last lap of the race, taking the oval. I thought somebody was going to go for that, and I'm glad you did. But overall, what was this race like with that unique interpretation of track limits from the whole field?
Oh my gosh, I feel like we started out pretty good, and then everyone started cutting the track, and I see people are like a lap or like more than a lap behind me, and then all of a sudden they're on my butt and we're fighting for second place. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was interesting to follow from up here in the booth, but I imagine it was interesting to follow down where you were too. I guess I should ask about the car and the track itself. It looked like it was a handful for the entirety of the race. How did you get a handle on it?
Oh my gosh, the beginning of the race is fine. The tires feel really good, but halfway through the race, the rear end just feels like there's just ice under it. You're coming through the first corner, almost coasting through it, trying not to spin out, and it's definitely a handful.
And you were one of the designated drivers today. I was secretly rooting for you in the booth because we heard you were partaking in some Dr. Pepper festivities. Was it just the regular Dr. Pepper, or was it one of like the weird, like the vanilla flavors or something?
Oh man, it's regular Dr. Pepper. I feel like I used to love Dr. Pepper. I don't think I do now after chugging 4 of them. I don't feel very good. Yeah, but I wish I could have muted my mic. I was burping a lot after chugging them.
And would you say Dr. Pepper tastes like cherry? Because I hear that's a controversial subject with Dr. Pepper fans. They don't want you to say it tastes like cherry, but does it?
The first one didn't, but once you start drinking 4 of them, yeah, there was definitely cherry in there.
And about 31 other flavors, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But before we get you out of here, you have anyone you want to thank putting on this race, helping you finish second here?
Just friends and family, everyone that's watching. Appreciate it. I love them all. And you guys for putting it on. You guys always do a great job.
Thank you very much. And thank you for putting on the show for us today. But next up, the other car on the podium, the other designated driver, John Momeyer, is with Michael.
Well, John, congratulations on making it to the podium today. What was your biggest feat out there? Was it more in the deciding when to make those stops, those stop and goes, or did you have some other challenge that was kind of bugging you?
It was the challenge of all the drunk drivers taking the cuts on the course, and you were trying to be legal and sober. It was just that was the little challenging there. Corey and I both, I think, experienced a bit of that.
Oh, for sure. Now you've got the Got Beer on the side of your car and a very interesting picture on the back. Do you feel like maybe that helped motivate the others to drink the beer more, maybe over imbibe a little bit through here?
Definitely, or at least a distraction as they're coming up on the back of the car. I know I'm a little slower than some of them, but it did distract a few of them for a minute. They had to figure out what it was, and it was enough for me to get them to spin or so. Yeah.
So how much of the strategy played out for you the way you thought it would, as in going in for the sudden, hey, let's cut the course here now and clear everybody's black flags?
You know, every time we do this 4-Drink Friday, you don't know whether we're going to cut black flags or not. We don't know what we're going to be doing. This was an interesting one. The rules seem to be changing all the way through the actual drive, and I was just trying to stay on the track. I figured eventually they would go off the track. That was my strategy. And just because I was designated driving doesn't mean I wasn't actually drinking. I just won't subject myself to that 4 drinks that have to happen within that limited amount of time.
So the secret comes out. So, well, who do you have to thank for this?
Oh, I've got to thank my family for letting me sit on the sim, and especially Granny, I think, is out there watching tonight, and then all the volunteers everywhere that help us put all this stuff on. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for coming, John. We enjoyed watching you. Let's go back to Joe.
Yep, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. And of course, we want to thank our sponsors before we take off, starting with Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. And Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Joey, Dougie, and Michael. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Check out our social media as well. Outlets are listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, check out our merchandise store. It's simply simracingmerch.com/GSRC. Also keep a link in the description below for that one. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because the next race for this one will be next month, Friday, July 30th at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. However, we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.